guys, so at the recording of this video, it is the first part of summer. I'm finally out of school, done teaching, and I've got a ton of time to hopefully work on the 140, but I do have a lot of other projects going on that hopefully I'm gonna get to share with you guys down the road. But right now, it's just a really busy time for me. I have taken longer than I wanted, but it took forever to get the parts in that I needed. So this video is gonna be a little bit broken up because of that, but we're gonna go back to getting in the parts for the air filter, for the LED light, and for the tail wheel, repairing those items, as well as a few little minor things that I do with the 140 that make it look a ton better. So I appreciate you guys following along and watching this series. I'm excited that this wraps up everything to get this aircraft airworthy. Today I am getting started with the repairs on the 140. Just got in a package from Spruce, which has a new tail wheel horn in it. So that's going to be going in our tail wheel. If you remember from last time, this was broken on the current tail wheel, as well as I've got some new springs to put inside of that. Along with, hopefully, there they are. I've got a new O-ring kit for my primer line because that was leaking. So gonna reinstall these, gonna reinstall a new horn and a couple springs on that tail wheel. And then the main thing that I want to do is going to be install this new bracket air filter on the front of, well, on the air box for the 140. Got that done. I don't even have that many leftover parts. So the tail's repaired, got a new fork or horn in there for the tail wheel. It seems to be functioning great right now, and it just goes to show you how important these inspections and how detailed they are. Going down to find just a tiny little fracture, a tiny little crack on that horn that prevented it from locking in place. We have to put that much detail and that much focus into every component on this aircraft. That's done. Last thing I have to do here is reinstall the primer O-rings, and I need to wait until I put the panels back on to do that. So that's what we're going to be doing next. So for the rest of today, my plan is just to start buttoning up some of these panels, some of these access ports since I'm done inspecting, and start putting things back together so that way this aircraft can be run and the annual can be finished. Well, I know some people are against power tools on screws. I am not. If you've got it clutched down low enough, I don't think there's any problem with using an electric tool, and I've used those to take these screws out. But personally, I do want to put this in with a regular screwdriver just to make sure that I do not A, strip this out, and B, that I feel that every single one of these does lock down to an amount that I'm satisfied with. Call me weird, I want to feel that, and so that's what I'm doing right here. I'm planning on taking the LED light out. I bought a LED light that I thought had an STC attached to it. Come to find out it's not PMA approved, did not have a PMA approved stamp on it. So I went off and bought another one, wheeling light that was PMA approved. Long story short, I'm just putting this on. I'm gonna do the STC. I'm gonna fill the 337 out. I'm gonna be one closer to renewing my IA this year with 337s. I've spent a little time and done some lubrication on the pulleys. During the annual, I noticed that they were not quite as loose as I would want them to be. They were pretty stiff from years of sitting, so I've lubricated all of them, and then I went ahead and made sure everything felt smooth, inspected them all again. I've got my filter installed, I've got my LED light in, I've got my tail wheel fixed. So now it's just little stuff, and by little stuff I mean cosmetics. So I touched up the panel, got it repainted, just painted the trim, the Miami blue that the outside is, so it matches, as well as I'm getting ready to strip the control columns down where somebody took a rattle can and spray painted them, and I'm going to take them back to polished aluminum. So let's get going. So I've got the yokes back. They look great with a Cessna emblem on both of these. So that's awesome. So let's get these back installed and start buttoning this aircraft up. She's just about done. All right, let's take one last look in here and see, make sure. It's always good before you button an aircraft up after your inspection to just make sure that there's no tools. And just a second look. Maybe you missed something, or maybe you left something loose. I didn't do anything down in here. I just checked these turnbuckles and inspected. So that looks fine to me. Let's close it back up after a year of it being open. I've got all of the panels buttoned up. I opened up a couple more things on the wing again, just one last time looking. Been super particular about making sure everything looks good in the wings and that there's no issues there. I just put the floor panels back on. I'm going to vacuum out around the feet footrest area, and from there we will start reinstalling the seats. It is amazing to me that after a year on and off of being able to work on this thing, that it's ready. I'm amazed that we didn't find more problems. There was plenty of stuff that I showed you guys, plenty of stuff that I did off camera to fix and get this aircraft up and running, and it's ready. I think I'm going to try to dynamically balance the prop over the next few weeks. I say over the next few weeks instead of next few days because my timeline on this project has never been right. So I hope to be able to take a look at how it is. The static tracking looks fine, so it's not that. So I am going to try to dynamically balance it, see if there's any vibrations that I can relieve by adding some weights to the flywheel, and go from there. Plan right now is to pre-oil it since it sat for a few months inside. It was actually back in 2022 when I finally got a chance to run this thing and start the annual, and then just waiting on parts and getting the stuff in. I need to fix things like the tail wheel and a few other things. A LED landing light and stuff. Now I want to go ahead and pre-oil it again. I know it's not been that long, but it shouldn't take that long to turn the engine over once or twice and get oil circulating through the cam and around the crank and all the journal bearings, stuff like that, to get it to where I know it's lubricated before I even try to fire it up one more time. I shouldn't have any problem firing it up this time around. I just want to pre-oil it to not put any extra wear and tear on this engine. All right, so we've got oil pressure, and I think now what I'm going to do is grab a spark plug socket, the torque wrench, and head out and put the plugs back in, and hopefully we can get it fired up and taxi around a little bit, just warm the engine up, make sure everything looks good, bring it in, do one last leak check before we get ready to sign it off. If there were an STC on an easier way to get into these things, I'd buy it. Oh! Alright. Let's see what she gives us today. Come on, not again. Alright, so we're back today. I finally got good battery. It's charged up and ready to go, and we're going to give it a shot again. Click! Well, she's running good. I think it's running a little bit rich. On shutdown, I'm having my rise is a little bit off when I shut the engine down with the mixture, and when I advance it all the way forwards, it's actually hurting its performance. It's like it's running a little bit rich. So I've got to figure that out. And then there's just a couple other little things. The tail wheel is not releasing correctly. So I think I just may have tightened it down too tight when I reinstalled it. I also need to make sure that there's slack in the lines. But this is huge. We just took it up to full power. I still feel a vibration in it that I think just is the prop needing to be dynamically balanced. So my plan is to get that equipment and do the dynamic balance over the next few days. Start to do the paperwork, which shouldn't take that long. I've got it all together. And then hopefully in the next month, depending on my schedule, after running it on the ground, putting about 10-15 gallons of fuel through it. Because you want to be careful doing this. You can toast your cylinders if you're not doing it correctly. I'm trying to do this at intervals to where I don't run it for several hours on the ground at once. And hopefully, if there's any issues, they will kind of pop up and show themselves. I am intermittently going to full power. I'm continuing to do run-ups every time I run it just to make sure everything looks good. But we will be ready to fly this thing out of here in the next few weeks, if not weather permitting, and if not in the next few weeks, probably within the next month. So make sure you're subscribed and stick around to see that video coming out. I've also got some other stuff that I have in the works right now, some really cool opportunities, so can't wait to share that with you guys as well. We'll see you guys next time.